Pastor Mutema? Pastor Mutema, can we invite you to have sharing with us? Pastor? Hello? Oh, I know what happened. Wait. Pastor Mutema. Africa. Okay. All right. Okay, Pastor, are you with us? Yeah, can we invite Pastor Mutema for the VIP sharing?
Hello.
Hi, Pastor.
I want to greet the Fight to Science family and say Happy New Year to Fight to Science family. This will be a wonderful year. Even 2020 was a wonderful year for us because we are a health promoting marketing company. I want to thank the CEO, the co-founder, all the leaders we have in the world, including our leaders in Africa. I want to thank our sister, our leader in Namibia, for the wonderful sharing. I came in the Zoom a bit late because we go to church on Saturdays. So I just joined immediately I came in. And it has been a wonderful share in the part that I got. I just wanted to share with the Fight of Science family just one or two or three things. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Pastor.
Okay. And number one, I wanted to say that since we are a marketing company that deals with health, for our seniors whom we found in the work, it's okay, they know what to do. The reason that they rose to where they are is that they have wonderful presentations that some of us even need to learn. But I'm talking particularly to those who are young in the work like myself, those who have started not long ago, that since we are health promoting network marketing and we deal with health, we deal with the wellness of people, and it's true at the same time trying to make money. I would say number one, we need to remember that when we present, we need to connect our presentation with the present modern medicine. Let it not be an isolated presentation. It's like you are just starting something new, and people will say, what about the hospitals we have? Where does this guy put them in? What about these, we have in Africa, for example, some big universities here in South Africa, medical schools. We have like in Uganda, Makerere University is well known. It's a big, well-known medical school. So you are presenting. You don't even mention anything concerning modern medicine. And people are wondering now, where does he put the, where does he put modern medicine? Is modern medicine not necessary? Or is it, where does it fit in into the stem cells that he's talking about? Now, for those who are educated enough on stem cells, they don't have a problem. But for the rest who have never heard about stem cells, they are wondering now, what about the tablets I get from the hospital? What about the injections I get from there? That is also health. Where does this guy put it in? Is it no longer necessary or what? So now, I'm saying, number one, make your presentation, but connect it, especially in your introduction to modern medicine. I'll give you an example. We have one of the renowned professors, is a medical scientist, one of the pioneers of stem cell medicine. He is Professor Mark Noble. You just, those who are Christians, you just look for Gospel According to Mark, M-A-R-K. And Noble, just like Noble, N-O-B-L-E. Professor Mark Noble is a professor in Rochester School of Medicine. If you can just Google him, you'll find a lot of things he does, what he's specialized in. He's one of the pioneers of stem cell medicine. And he is among the first scientists who actually began this research that we are talking about today. They are more in the embryo stem cells and the adult stem cells, but ours is more on organic plant stem cells. But it's all about stem cell research. So listen to how he introduces stem cells, but not forgetting that stem cells did not stand alone. We have had other researchers in health, in medicine. So I'm quoting him. Listen to this. He says, quote, there has been a handful of revolutions in medicine which have transformed the world. And then he goes on to say things like antibiotics, things like vaccination, surgery, anesthesia, the ability to look inside your body without opening it up like we do with scan machines and x-rays. He says, these have transformed the world so much that without these medical discoveries, most of us wouldn't even exist today, wouldn't be there, because they helped us a lot. Then he comes to stem cell. Listen to how he joins stem cells. He says, but we are living in an age when the next medical revolution is just beginning. And this is stem cell medicine. You see how he puts it. He says, he's saying in this quotation that I've just put, he's saying, the other revolutions in medicine were good. Revolutions like what? Like the first revolution we had in the early 18th century, to be specific, we started our first medicine in 1803, and that was morphine. 1817, then we came to aspirin. And these were two German pharmacists at different times. And then came the French. In 1920, two French pharmacists made quinine for the treatment of malaria, and then things went on. Now, this revolution, we call it chemical pharmacology when we come to health. So if you mention that, people begin to say, this guy knows his stuff. I can listen to him. You may be talking to a biology teacher you don't know. You may be talking to a doctor without knowing that you are talking to a doctor. Like I talked to Professor Irene Nosisiama. The CEO requested Professor Irene Nosisiama that she needed to talk to somebody who knows a bit about stem cell. And then she phoned me and I started expounding to her what I knew about stem cell, not knowing that I'm dealing with a professor who teaches other professors to do their work in the university. So she left me to do things. And I'm sure she was testing to see my knowledge of health. And at a certain time, when I started to talk about how stem cells are able to multiply using a science of mitosis and mitokinosis, then she stopped me and then she said, you know who you are talking to, Pastor? I said, no. She says, you are talking to so and so and so. I said, you should have been the one to teach me. She said, no. I wanted that what you have been talking about. So you see, we don't know who we are talking to. We don't know who we are going to present it to, but we needed to talk like somebody who knows about health. So my point number one is talk, present, but connect your presentation of stem cells research to other existing forms of health or of health research. So Professor Mark Noble says, there has been a handful of revolutions in medicine that have transformed the world. Then he names them, some of them. And then he says, these revolutions helped us to be where we are today. We needed them, he says. But, he says, we are now living in a generation when the next, you see what he says, the next medical revolution is now beginning, and that is stem cell medicine. So you're talking to a doctor, the doctor sits properly, says, hey, I'm talking to a specialist here. Maybe he's a doctor, maybe he's what? Let me listen properly, you see. So you can be able to win a doctor. You can be able to win a nurse or a pharmacist because of the way you are presenting. You may be able to win a biologist who is a teacher in a school, or anybody who have ever done biology. You may be able to win them because you are connecting with modern health. Never, never should anyone in phytoscience family ever say, when you have this crystal cell or double stem cell or whatever, snowfield, you won't need to go to the hospital again. Never should we say that, because then we will be contradicting our fellow top specialists in the health sector. And if the governments under which we say we can hear that we are beginning to talk like that, they can put us to task or even close the very window that they gave to phytoscience. So that's my point number one. Point number two, since this company deals with a science that is the latest, and it's called plant stem cells. We can't just start talking about plant stem cells without letting people know that this is not the only stem cell in the world. We need to say to them, there are three areas where medical science is dealing with stem cells. Then you mention, just by passing, there is number one, embryo stem cells. And you say a little about that. If you don't have information on that, ask those who know among the phytoscience family, because we have doctors among us. I could mention their names, but I don't have the time. Or you could do research. You can go to your library in the town where you live. You can go to the university. Or if, for example, there is a university in the place where you go in there and look at the medical books and try to get some information so that you may be able to know a little more about stem cells. And I want to give you this. Don't give them a sophisticated explanation about stem cells as though you are a scientist. Make it simple for them so that they may be able to understand from a layman's language, what are you talking about stem cells and how do they help? Because they won't join if they don't understand how stem cells work. But if they can understand that as they take them, this is what they are going to do in the body, then they will be able to say, I want it. Then you can now come to the testimonies. You can now come to the different areas which our seniors here, like the stockists of Namibia, had just shared with us, and the others who shared before I joined the Zoom. They know their stuff. They know how to connect from the company profile, coming down to the products, and then coming down to the testimonies and so on. But you should have given them a clear understanding of how stem cells work. For example, we know that stem cells are actually a certain group of cells that are that are regenerative in nature. And they also are non-specialized. They are non-specialized cells, but that are regenerative in nature. And what do they do in the body? They do body repair. Tissues of the body are repaired. And what else do? They rescue the injuries that are in our bodies. Especially this one on injury. I got it from a professor who was lecturing at the University of Nicosia in Greece. So you needed to know that here we are dealing with the highly educated staff. Don't just be satisfied with the little that we share among ourselves. Go deep so that in case one day that information may be given. When I studied on salesmanship, I did courses on salesmanship. They taught us that when you present, you must present 1/10 of what you know. That means that as we make our presentations, we should have 9 times more that we have kept as a reserve. They said it to us, when you present, you must be like the one, because we used to sell books on medical science. So they used to say you must be like the professor who wrote that book. So that caused me to go for training. I have in my family, my children, one is a medical scientist, the other one, the firstborn is she has PhD in public health. So you can see that I'm surrounded by medical people. In my sister, her secondborn is a medical doctor. So you can see that when we sit, we are just many health people. The other cousin of mine is married to a doctor, and this doctor is a provincial, the doctor who is holding the province in one of the provinces in Zambia, there where they live. I'm in South Africa, but they live up there. So you can see that I'm surrounded by medical people, so that I get a lot of stuff from them, but I also go and research for my own. So then you must know that stem cells are actually cells that deal with body maintenance. And they are actually called mother cells. One doctor said to me, the real better name to use is that they are mother cells. But of course, you can explain to say they are mother cells. They are called mother cells because they do body repair, they do body maintenance, they do body rescue. And then you may be able to come up and say, stem cells have certain characteristics or behaviors. And with my presentation myself, with my team, I give them the stuff that there are 7 characteristics of stem cells. Number 1, stem cells are able to multiply at an exceedingly high rate. And that's where mitosis, mitognosis comes in. Number 2, they self-renew. When that cell splits to make 2, the growth in between is called self-renew. And then stem cells are able to help the cells of the body to do cell-to-cell communication. That one, where did I get it? I got it from the South African Medical Research Council. And what does that do? That's very important for diabetics, because the extremities of a human body, like at the fingertips there, especially the fingertips of the legs, down there at the fingertips, you'll find that when somebody is diabetic, he's faced with 4 dilemmas. The blood flow becomes disturbed, number 1. Number 2, the kidneys get disturbed. Number 3, the heart gets disturbed. Number 4, the eyes, the system of the eyes get disturbed. So they have 4 dangers that they needed to look at. So we need some kind of a medicine, whether it's a food, it's a health supplement or whatever, that can help cells to communicate, so that then cells that are at the extremities of the body may be able to communicate with the rest of the body cells. So I said to them, that's one of the things that stem cells do. And then I continue on. I give them those 7 different behaviors of stem cells. I was in a place, and then after presenting, one of the teachers asked me, says, "Are you a teacher, Pastor?" I said, "No." "Have you ever taught in a school?" I said, "No." He says, "But you are a teacher. The way you have just given us here." Because in South Africa, by law of the Department of Education, stem cells are now taught in schools here in South Africa. So anybody who would want to do presentations and market phytoscience company in South Africa need to know that one. I went to Zambia to visit our leader, the top leader under whom I work, because it is Edwin Kalunga, our leader there, the stockist there, and then under him is Mr. Piri. So we are under Mr. Piri. But I wanted to go for some training because I can't do a work that I don't know. So I went for some training in 2019. I stayed there from May, June, July, August, for 4 months. I stayed there for the training. Now, certain days I didn't have anybody to train me. So I did my research. I went to the different hospitals in Zambia, and especially those that are private. There are some private hospitals in Zambia, new ones, that are doing wonderful work. What did I do? I was comparing their fees when you have to go there as a patient. That when you go in there, what is the initial amount you pay before they start checking you? So I went from one of them to another and so on and another. I needed that information. And then I shared it with the others one day. I asked the leader Kalunga if I could share that information with them, because some didn't even know that there are different fees there. Big fees. What was my aim? My aim was that I discovered that in some of those hospitals, just to register yourself as a patient there, the money you pay, I want phytoscience family to listen to this. The money you pay just to come and be admitted there, before the doctors can check on you, before they can use their expertise and diagnose what your disease is, you pay an amount that is bigger than entering as a platinum. Are we together there? So if I was working in Zambia, look at how crazy I would be. I would show them amounts, initial amounts to get into a special private hospital in Zambia, one by one. And I would say to them, the best, some of the best is this one. Just for you to get admitted, the initial payment you pay so that they can start working on you before you pay doctors' fees, machinery, and all the stuff that you have to pay by the end of your treatment. Just to enter the hospital that night, you pay an amount in some of those hospitals bigger than entering as a platinum. Why did I want that? I wanted them to see that the money they are paying for a platinum, to register the platinum, is a peanut. When we studied our salesmanship, which you can use even in network marketing, they taught us that exalt the value and minimize the price. Exalt the value of your product and minimize the price. So we used to have something like that. So you can see that that's what I was doing. So here in South Africa, if you were to ask me, Pastor, can you give us the list of the private hospital where you can find that maybe the president of Zambia or the president of some country around here, when they are very sick and they need to have some operation on the heart, there are special hospitals they come to here in South Africa.
Pastor, can you please? Now we see. Just now we only see your mouth.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, only see your mouth moving. Now I want to see your face. Come on. Okay, this is the right angle. Okay.
Is it all right now?
I cannot stand. I cannot see. Only seeing your mouth moving. Okay. I have to stop you. Okay, now it's the right angle. You can continue. Yeah.
Now you can see me.
5 more minutes for you. 5 more minutes for you. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So this is what I think, whether it's in Cameroon, Nigeria, or it can be in Uganda, it can be in Zambia, it can be in Tanzania, it can be in any country, maybe here in Namibia or here in South Africa. We need to know what they do in the health sector and know the challenge. In 2003, because I was dealing with these medical books, I wanted to know the statistics in the health sector. It's very hidden, but I had to sign certain papers to be given that statistics to know how many doctors do we have in South Africa, including the intern, those who are still under training. And then that was 2003. And in 2009, I wanted to compare to see whether the number of doctors have increased. I discovered that 1/3 of our doctors had already left South Africa to go to Europe, to go to America and other places where they could get more money. So you see, it presents a health challenge. And because I have this information, I can share it with my client to say to them, you owe it to yourself to improve your own health, because our health system has serious challenges. I don't say it has problems. I say to them, it has serious challenges. So that I'm able to lecture a group of people, present it to them, and I've discovered that when I share with them certain information like that, I get 9 out of 10. I went to school one day during Corona, but the principal was able to allow me to get in. I was talking to 5 people, and I got all 5. The principal herself was the first one to say, "Pastor, write me down. I have diabetes. Can I get a form?" And then the others also, because the principal said so, everybody got a form. So I do 5 out of 5. I can get 4 or 3 if I've really failed. But you see, it's not that I'm a specialist. It's just that I'm trying to present to them the reality of life. Then one day I was with a lady, and then we were delivering stem cells to her downline, and she was giving her 4 packets of double stem cell. And then she said to the lady, by the time you finish this, you'll be healed. So I couldn't say anything, because I would have contradicted her in front of the customer. So when we left, I said, don't do that next time. Because you see, you don't know what their health condition is. If you say to them that 4 packets will take care of them, what about if the 4 packets don't? And then she said, oh, okay. Because you see, we have a problem. We want to make sure that we make a sale so that we're able to register them. But let's not use information that is not correct. I've heard doctors like in Uganda saying, it takes long for a tissue that had been damaged to get corrected. It may take 3 months, 6 months. It can take a year or 2 years or 3 years. So we don't give them that kind of information, because if they don't, they will say that our things are not working. So that's what I was saying. I was saying, number one, as you present, try to connect your presentation to the modern structure of medicine that is there, so that they can see that we are not talking about an isolated issue. 2, I said that try to make sure that you have a clear 1, 2, 3, 4 presentation on stem cells, so that they understand it clearly. If they do, in a simple manner, layman's language, then they will know what they are dealing with, and you will win. Thank you very much, Fight to Science family. Leader Victor, thank you for allowing me to say something on Zoom.
All right. Yeah, we always like you to come on Zoom to share with us, because you have a very in-depth understanding, very in-depth knowledge about the stem cell. I believe you are a blessing to all of us. All right. So thank you, Pastor Mutewa.